And so one of my doors got shared on that Instagram account, and I jumped from about 30,000 followers to 55,000 followers in 2.5 weeks, and it went everywhere. Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am talking all about what got me started on Instagram and how I managed to grow a very niche account to a really kind of big Instagram account with a large following and a really high engagement rate in 2.5 years. So this is my story, this is how I did it, and these are some of my learnings and lessons from what's changed since I started that Instagram account and how you can best grow on Instagram in 2020 versus when I started, which was about 2016, 2017. So the Instagram account that I'm going to talk about today is The Doors of London, and that is the Instagram account I started after working at a big digital marketing agency and being inspired by the strategies I was working on for big brands like Canon and Disney Baby, and wondering whether I could put those same strategies that were working for those huge established brands and put them into play for my own Instagram account, and whether it would work, whether I could actually grow organically, or whether it was because those were already big established brands, that's how they could grow. So I set myself a challenge. I decided to pick a niche subject matter that I knew that I could take photos of regularly. I thought it probably would be a good idea if I didn't feature in the images, because back then I definitely wasn't very natural on camera. I didn't like the camera. I really hated my photo being taken. And I thought the practicalities of that would be harder because I'd need someone, unless I had a tripod and stand and a self-timer, I'd need someone there to take the photos of me. So I thought, what could I take a photo of over and over again? And I also put into practice the knowledge that I had of some of the types of image and the locations of the image that I knew would be popular on Instagram. I knew London was a really popular subject matter anyway, images and architecture around London. And then I thought, okay, I've seen some of these images of London that people share. They share images of really famous icons and architecture that we're all familiar with. But also there are some images of doors that are being taken. Some have almost become Insta-famous in their own right. And I thought I could make a project out of the front doors, because we're lucky enough here in London to have beautiful front doors in loads of different areas of the city. So I thought, this could be a great topic to choose. I could always take photos of them. They would change depending on the season. At Christmas, there would be wreaths and Christmas decorations. In summer, the blooms would come out. In spring, there would be wisteria and magnolia. So I thought this was perfect. So I decided that would be my subject matter. I would focus mainly in London, and The Doors of London was born. Now, having the knowledge that I did of the big name brands I was working with, I knew that there were some things I had to employ if I wanted to grow in the same way that those brands were. So I knew that I had to get clever about my content creation and planning and batch my content in advance. So I would pick a location in London on a weekend, and I would go there and I would spend hours wandering around and getting as many photos of as many different doors as I could, so that I had a bank of images that I could keep pulling from on a regular basis. And so by the end of a few months, I had a huge bank of images to pick from, and so that I could use the latergrams sometimes if I needed to, or I could just keep pulling images fresh from the ideas bank and use them over time. So that was one of the things I did. Another thing that was really popular back in 2016 was having some kind of consistent theme or visual style on Instagram. Now that still is important today, to have a red thread running through your content, so there is some continuity. But back in 2016, this was major. Having one consistent theme was really big. You probably remember, which isn't so popular now, the collaged Instagram grids where there were different images on the grid that made up one complete picture when you looked at it all together as one. That was really big back then, that wasn't so big now. So I knew that by having that consistency with the images, that would be a good idea. I also knew that engaging with my community was really important, particularly with the Instagram account that we ran for Canon. The community element of that Instagram account was huge, because we would not only engage with Instagrammers on the platform every single day, but we were also gathering UGC, user-generated content, from people uploading images from their Canon to their Instagram account. And we were also running offline Insta meets. So all of that is to say that the community aspect was huge. So I knew that I needed to tap into the Instagrammers on Instagram that I could connect with, and also the other people that were posting pictures of London. We had that shared interest, that shared bond already, so that was easy to kind of reach out and connect with people. And I also knew how to capitalize and maximize my hashtags. I was making sure to choose some of those popular ones, as well as the niche ones that people were using, particularly for things to do with front doors, door traits. I mean, there were loads. There was also a hashtag for the type of facade when it looks like a face. And I'll put the name on the screen now for what that is called, because I cannot remember off the top of my head. It's when the windows and the door mimic what a face looks like. So I really maximized everything I knew about working with these brands and put it into my own Instagram account. And then I posted every single day for about 2.5 years. Posted every day, engaged with people every day, and slowly but surely I grew my Instagram account. And I think I hit 10K followers. It wasn't immediate, it wasn't overnight. I think it was about 12 or 15 months into growing my Instagram account, into having that heavy focus every single day posting. And Instagram is a different place than it is now, but it took that level of commitment and consistency to hit 10K followers. And then it kind of carried on steadily growing from there. So one of the things that helped me grow, particularly in the early days, was making the most of feature hashtags. And that means using hashtags that feature accounts use. So I knew that because I was sharing images of London, that there were some really big London Instagram accounts that had associated hashtags that I could use for the chance to be featured. Now, I never give this tip as something, as a kind of surefire way to grow, because you never know if your content is going to get picked up by these accounts. But it's worth just including one or two in your hashtag group and collection when you're posting your content, because you never know if your content is high quality and it matches the kinds of content that these feature accounts are sharing, then you never know, you could get picked up. So I shared the hashtags of Pretty City London, Pretty Little London, and at London with the hashtags I was sharing on a regular basis. And a few times my images got picked up, and then that saw a big boost in my follower growth and my engagement. And then there was the viral moment, and this happened without me realizing, without any foresight. But in January 2019, my Doors account got picked up by the Modern Met, and that is a website and Instagram account that collates content from around the web and shares interesting articles, cool new images, cool new trends happening. And somebody put together an article about my Instagram account, and that was really cool in itself. But what actually made the Instagram account go viral, if you like, is when it got picked up by the Instagram account Bored Panda. Now, they have millions of followers, and again, it's a little bit like the website The Modern Met that I just said, where the Instagram account of Bored Panda pulls images from all kinds of Instagram accounts, all kinds of content gets shared, and it's massive, and it has a really huge engaged following. And so one of my doors got shared on that Instagram account, and I jumped from about 30,000 followers to 55,000 followers in 2.5 weeks, and it went everywhere. I was being shared on Reddit, the Daily Mail, The Guardian, the Sunday Times. People were sending me the photos that they were seeing, as I said, being shared on Reddit. I had no idea it was being shared there. So it went somewhat crazy, and it was a really strange time because I had lots of websites contacting me, from Yahoo to, as I said, the Daily Mail, to the New York Times, asking if they could share the content. So it was really exciting, it was really weird, and lots of my friends were seeing the content. And so that was my experience of going viral. To be honest, nothing really happened off the back of it, besides getting lots of media coverage, which is, you know, always an exciting thing. But what it actually led me to do was to consider how I'd been showing up on Instagram. And actually, up until that point, I hadn't been showing up on Instagram. That is to say that my face hadn't really been showing up on the platform at all. I'd been hiding behind the front doors and occasionally showing up on Instagram stories. But I decided then, as this crazy time was happening, as it was being shared, the Doors of London was being shared everywhere, I decided that this would be a good opportunity to actually show my face and connect with my audience, who'd been really loyal and following me along this journey for the last 2.5 years. I decided that now was a good time to actually put my face on the grid. So I did. And even though I already had an engaged audience, the comments that I got, the conversations that I started by actually showing my face on Instagram was amazing. And I had the most amount of comments that I'd ever received on a piece of content. And I had people coming out of the woodwork saying, we "Oh, so glad to finally see your face. We've been following along for ages, but we didn't know who was running the account." And we had all these introductions in the comments, and it was amazing. So that was the most exciting thing that came out of having this weird, crazy viral time. And it really taught me the importance of showing up on Instagram, showing my face, and engaging as a real human being. Because even though people loved following along the doors, they also loved learning more about me and actually connecting with the face behind the platform. And that was back in January 2019, and that is something that has really, really only grown and only become even more important now as I sit here in March of 2020. That personal face-to-face contact, putting a face to the brand, the business, the Instagram account, that is more important than ever before. So what are some of the biggest things that I've learned since starting my Instagram account 4 or 5 years ago now, and having all of the experiences of growing it to 70,000 followers, having an engagement rate of 15%, and having the weird experience of going viral? Well, some of my biggest lessons are, the first is to be committed and consistent. Those two things were really, really important back when I started my Instagram account in 2016, and they're still important today. Now, you don't need to be posting every single day like I was back then, but you do need to be consistent and committed. Without those two things, you can't really expect to see success on Instagram. And when I say success, I mean growth and engagement from your audience. There needs to be a level of commitment and consistency on your part. If not posting every day, just having a schedule and sticking to it. The next thing I've learned, which still holds true today, is engaging with your community. That engagement, that interaction on a daily basis with your community really pays off. That is what is going to grow your community. That is what is going to tell Instagram's algorithm that you are a valuable account, worth sharing to more people, worth showing up in the Explore page, worth putting in front of more people that look like your ideal customer or client or community member. So go out there and be engaging. Find your people and engage with them regularly. It's a great thing for the Instagram algorithm, and it's a great thing for your account. It's what is going to grow you. Now, a couple of things that are still important today, as they were back then, is high quality content and hashtags. Now, hashtags and high quality content are still important on Instagram today. But the difference between then and now is that back in 2016, you could get away with just sharing high quality images and the right hashtags, and you stood a really good chance of growing quickly on Instagram. Now, because Instagram is even more saturated than it was back then, those two things alone won't see success for you. You won't grow in the same way that you could and would and should if you also throw in daily proactive engagement with that. But those two things are still important. So you have to make sure that your image quality is high and that you are using the right hashtags. There's no good choosing really broad, really popular hashtags and expect to grow. Because there is so much content uploaded onto Instagram every single day, you need to be as specific and niche as you can with your hashtag choice. If you want to know anything more about hashtags, check out the video I'm linking to above my head after this one. And the final thing I've learned, which took me a really long time to learn and which I don't want you to take as long to realize as I did, is that showing up really does pay off. It took me 3 years to show my face on my main feed. I was showing up a little bit on Instagram stories, but I had never shown my face on my Instagram grid. I was worried. I was afraid to do so. I was afraid to break up the grid of pretty door images with my face. And when I did, people came out of the woodwork and said they'd been waiting for it, that they were so excited that finally they could put a face to the Instagram account. So don't wait as long as I did to show up on your Instagram account. People are waiting to see you. They're waiting to see and hear and connect with the person behind the Instagram account. So that is my call to action for you. It's to be brave, to show up, to be the real person and put that face to your Instagram account, because people love it. Now more than ever before, people are moving away from that pretty, highly produced content, and they just want to see real and raw imagery and stories from the people that are behind the Instagram account. So that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for staying tuned with me until the end. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell button so you never miss another video. I drop a brand new Instagram marketing video every single Friday here on YouTube. If you would like to get your hands on more free resources, I've dropped a bunch of links in the description box below, including a link to my free 4-day email challenge, which is great whether you're brand new to Instagram or whether you've been on the platform for a few years and you're feeling a bit stagnant. Sign up for that. It's me jumping into your inbox with 4 emails over 4 days. It's a thing, it's exciting. For now, I will see you next week for a brand new YouTube video. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.